Election News Headquarters. The Poll of Polls with Arnab Goswami.
Good evening and welcome to the Poll of Polls show, and the big numbers are now going to come out on your screen. We have analyzed the ORG India poll along with the C-Voter poll, the Nielsen poll, the Chanakya poll, and arrived at this big mean number which is on your screen. The mean poll of polls shows the NDA at 292 and the UPA at 101. 101 between a range, ladies and gentlemen, of 90 to 112, which means there is a very real possibility of the Congress party falling into double digits. 292 is in a range of 280 to 306, but keep in mind that this number out here, the 292 number, is buffered up with a 340 plus minus 14 seats, that sensational number coming from Chanakya. Where they don't vary as much is when it comes to vote share. Here's the aggregated vote share, a compilation of C-Voter, ORG India, Nielsen and Chanakya. And in terms of vote share, the UPA aggregates 22.4%. Remember, that's UPA, not Congress alone. The NDA aggregates 36.09%. But what it essentially means is that purely in terms of the Congress party's vote share, there is a very real possibility that falling below 20% is a real possibility for the Congress party, which means huge, major, existential crisis for the Congress party. We will now fire the graphics of the seat share. Seat share for the Congress and the BJP alone. The poll of polls shows the Congress party is in double digits. 82 seats is the figure that has been given to the Congress party. 250 is the aggregate number in the poll of polls for the BJP, which basically means that the BJP is well within striking distance. Again, I would like to add a small caveat. This includes this number of 250 for the BJP is buffered, while the amazing number of 291 plus minus 14, which I am told is higher than the BJP's internal estimate. But however, Chanakya says there's a real possibility of the BJP crossing 300 on its own. Now, the next graphic we'd like to put out is that of gains for the BJP. So from 2009 of 116, the BJP goes to an aggregate in the poll of polls of 250. That's a huge, massive gain of 134 seats. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the performance of Mr. Narendra Modi, if these polls are anything to go by. And remember, all these polls, broadly, I'd say all polls, including the highly conservative ORG India poll, conservative from the BJP point of view, are indicating one story. There is not one poll which says that the BJP will not come to close to 250. The C-Voter poll, of course, says that the BJP individually, I think, could get about 248, 249, but they are broadly playing in that figure. The loss for the Congress, the big story, the headline that's been going on, the Congress party down from 206 to 82. Bare minimum, lowest ever so far was 114. Even Rahul Gandhi in his worst nightmare would not have believed that the Congress party can go to 82. But keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to go by Chanakya, Chanakya actually says the Congress party on its own could go down to 57. Now, that's therefore the big story that we are going to look at. I'd like to very warmly welcome, very warmly welcome into the studios Ashok Malik. Ashok Malik joins us back. Yashwant Deshmukh of C-Voter. Thank you very much, Yashwant. Good to see you back in the Times Now studios. We've been missing you. Aarti Jairat, nice to see you. Nirja, Dilip Padgaonkar, Nirja Chaudhary, Dilip Padgaonkar, our political editor, Navika Kumar, joining us today. Navika, excited about what's going on in the poll of polls? So is it looking more and more predictable?
Well, now the excitement is who got it right, because all the numbers are there in the open space, in the public domain. So who got it right, that will be the thing. But once again, there's nothing like the real thing. The result day, 16th of May, 6 a.m. onwards. That's what all eyes will be on.
I spoke to Lalu Prasad. today, and he said, oh my God, I don't agree with your numbers at all. I said, but others are giving you a fairly decent figure. He says, at the end of the day, all exit polls are going to be proven wrong. He was very super confident.
Congressman from Rajasthan said the same thing for our poll.
The congressman from Rajasthan said to us that they are delighted at the figures that we have shown them because some of them themselves don't believe that the party will do so well. So we take all polls with a barrel of salt.
She's going to raise the red flag whenever
she's wearing the red flag today. Well, you don't want to mess with Navika there. Sunil Alagh, thanks for joining us. Mr. Rajagopalan, Ajoy Da, and my friend Hartosh. Thank you very much indeed. Well, now, therefore, I'm going to look at the other detailed graphics. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the overall numbers that we have here. This is the numbers of poll of polls. 292 for the NDA, UPA 101, others 150. Does it vary very much between the four? Well, these three polls, the very conservative poll of 249 to 265 of ORG India, News Nation, Times Now poll yesterday, the News Nation, Times Now, ORG India poll predicts a range of 249 to 265. ABP News Nielsen says 281. C Voter says 289, and he says it in an upper range of 299, almost reaching 300 therefore. This is the one poll that really says that the NDA could go way out and almost touch the kind of levels that the Congress party reached in 1984. In terms of the story for the UPA, not very different. Only the ORG India News Nation poll gives the Congress party a chance. Remember, this is a UPA figure. This is not, ladies and gentlemen, it is not, and I'd like to repeat, a Congress party figure. The individual Congress party figure in that, and I'm sorry I forgot to welcome you there, Jay. That is the individual Congress party figure there. Would you like to come up here? Join me if you can, if you're not wired up. Yeah. Yes, perfect. Come on.
The individual Congress party figure varies from 105 to 120.
1 second. The individual Congress party figure should be coming on our screen right now. Okay, no, this is the NDA vote share. We'll go back to the previous graphics. The NDA vote share comes up by 12%. That's another story of resurgence. Let's wait for the next graphic. Okay. The Congress. This is the Congress party.
Now, this is actually the poll of polls. Come look at the News Nation ORG India poll. This is 119.
Right.
It's sort of, that is the mean, the best that the Congress party has had there.
No, but is this the upper end of the
This is the upper end. It's essentially 105 to 120.
So 105 to 120 is the poll. So when we put a figure of 119 out, on what basis do we say 119? It could vary anywhere in between? Or is this a...
Yes.
Is this scientifically arrived at?
No, this is scientifically arrived at. The mean of the range has been taken when giving out this.
While giving the 119 figure, all other polls put the Congress party below 100. The story is sealed as far as Chanakya is concerned. Is there a play for any of the other players to come in the government formation stakes? Well, I really don't think so. Because they would have to be bolstered by a considerable performance plus complete unity on this side. If you total up these two numbers, whether it is News Nation, ORG, Times Now polls, C Voter, ABP Nielsen or today's Chanakya, they don't, others and Congress put together also, including potential allies and natural allies of the BJP, would rarely touch about 300. So the possibility of them coming together and getting 272 appears very, very dim.
Very weak. Very weak, importantly, within those 215 or 195. Look at that range. It's pretty narrow. It's 195 to 221. There's going to be a bunch of incompatibles. You know, you won't have the ADMK going with the DMK, the SP going with the BSP, the Mamta going with the left. So I think it's a little bit of a fool's paradise.
Let's look at the vote share of the NDA and the UPA. NDA first. Historically, the NDA vote share of 36%. How does it compare to the previous elections in which the NDA has done well? Does it come close to what Vajpayee achieved in 98, 99?
Not at all.
No, it doesn't.
It's a tad lower than that. That was 41% of the votes.
Right.
This time it's 36% of the votes. And we have 24% in 2009. Of this 24%, the BJP was 18%, Arnab.
Right.
You know, almost a substantial number here.
Okay.
There it's 36% and the BJP climbs to about 28%.
Okay, and if you're watching this, one point to remember here, that in terms of vote share for the NDA, there is very little variation between ORG India, News Nation, ORG India, News Nation Times Now, C-Voter, Nielsen,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
however, even I don't have the vote share for Chanakya.
Chanakya doesn't have a...
You want to have the breakup of how the different polls have plotted the vote share? Okay, so you want to see the poll of polls vote share graph once again?
Yeah, the poll of
that
polls
would be
vote share.
interesting.
Yes.
Okay. I think I don't have the graphic right now. C-Voter puts 38% as the NDA figure, vote share, projecting 289 to 289 is the mean on that average of 279 to 290.
Right, 38%.
ORG India says 34.28. Nielsen says 36. I do not have the vote share of Chanakya. The average mean arrived at, therefore, is
36.09. Yeah.
36.09. So it's actually closer to 36 than 37.
37, right.
Fine.
Yeah. These are the...
and this is the way the seats are arrived at.
The seats are arrived
So broadly, just to tell you the big story right now, in terms of vote share for the NDA varies between 34 and 38, 39% for all these players. There is a wide gap. The UPA, in terms of vote share, I'd like to pull up the vote share of the UPA, varies in a range between 19 and 23, 24%, 25% for C-Voter. C-Voter says 25%, 19% says ORG India. In fact, ORG India is predicting lesser vote share than C-Voter, while giving a significantly higher number of seats to the Congress party. So the News Nation ORG poll is actually more conservative in terms of vote share for the Congress UPA. Nielsen gives 23%. The average vote share of the UPA is at about 22.4%. Rounded off, we are putting 22%. There's a gap of 15% that they have lost since 2009, which is a significant and massive loss. And this loss has been largely held together. I mean, this loss is largely because of the losses of the Congress party.
Yeah.
Right?
The Congress is projected to decline from 28 to 19.
Okay, we are going to go to the game changer states in some time. I'd like to open this up. Now, there are a few talking points. Yashwant, my first question to you is, you've given a range, and everyone's given a broad range, right? Everyone's looking at that range of 250 to about 290, 295 that you see. Chanakya is the only standout poll that really says 340. So it's between Chanakya on one side and the ORG India poll on the other. How are you reading the broad number, and how do you think these numbers vary within that limited frame of 250 to 330?
There are three major agencies doing media polls for the last 15-20 years and regularly. CSDS, Nielsen and C-Voter. If you pick up these three agencies, their numbers are remarkably close, within plus minus 5 seats of each other, and plus minus 1% of vote share between each other. Remarkably close. There are two outliers. One is Chanakya on the one side, another is ORG, between 100 seats difference between them, almost 100. So if you take an average of ORG and Chanakya, it will come down to what these three agencies are saying. Even if you take the average of these two outliers.
You are saying that
what I'm trying to say,
my point is that, can you explain to me mathematically, just simple question here is, that
these are saying, even if you take the average of these two outliers.
You are saying that
what I'm trying to say,
my point is that, can you explain to me mathematically, just simple question here is, that because the vote share figures, national vote share figures for all these polls, as you will agree, are broadly in a very close range. The results vary quite significantly.
No, they are not. I tell you why the results vary significantly. For example, the ORG poll in Rajasthan says the margin between the Congress and the BJP is hardly about 3%. In my poll, the margin is 23%. This is as huge as it can be, Arnav. So they are not same. They're overall, because one vote share in this state and one their vote share in that state get compensated somewhere. Their average might be coming to that. But if you are comparing the vote share, I would seriously request you to compare the vote share of each and every state. And which is where you will figure out that the gap between CSDS, C-Voter and Nielsen is hardly within very much plus minus 3% of their margin of error, within that error. But these two polls at the state level have very eccentric vote share changes. So one of them has to go wrong big time among these two. rest of these three numbers, the average would be pretty much consistent as far as the national, as far as the state vote share.
Mr. Padgaonkar.
Given the divergence in these various opinion polls,
Yes.
I'd like to quote Omar Abdullah's tweet this morning, have all these agencies been covering the same election?
Well, I'll tell you.
The extent of the divergence between what ORG India has done and what Chanakya has done, the diversity is such that you need to, have a greater explanation as to why this divergence has come about.
Yeah.
You know, one point.
Let's begin.
One point that I want to raise is that the ORG gentleman, I forget his name,
ORG
who was here, ORG India gentleman, he had said that he has focused on areas which generally switch votes. I mean, switch that segments in each area which are more likely to be volatile in voting. Whereas I think all the other agencies have taken a cross-section of all. Now, if you focus only in areas which are the volatile voters, you are likely to come across and have a result which can go one way or the other.
Right.
This is the only explanation, because they said in the beginning, because the standard people were excluded.
I'm just slightly curious about ORG India's 34%, because as far as I remember correctly yesterday, Uttar Pradesh was something like 25.5 or 26%. Yeah, 26%. Yes. And which is a huge state, and so therefore would comprise a very large. And in Rajasthan, in Maharashtra, in Madhya Pradesh also, it was well below 30% the BJP vote. So I'm just surprised, how did their final tally come
because they've given a higher number in Assam, there's a higher number in Karnataka.
But it would compensate for 26%.
And by the way, in UP, the Nielsen vote share for the BJP is 36, CSDS is 37, C-voter is 37.
Yeah, ORG India is 32, sort of 26. Although
So
they've given 52 seats.
10%.
Although they've given 52 seats on 26.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that I'm just curious about it, that's all. I mean, these are all statistical.
Can I ask a question? Have all these polls taken into account the 40-odd constituencies which went to the polls yesterday? And I believe there are 18 of them which were in UP.
They were projects.
So I cannot comment of what others do the way they do. As far as the C-voter is concerned, ours is a pretty much data collection in a way real time, that whenever an interview is conducted in the field, the data is immediately picked up by our central research team through our call center from talking to that researcher in the field. So our data is pretty much at till 4 o'clock in sync with whatsoever the data we had collected last evening.
Right.
Then we had come up with an update at 9 o'clock for the complete data.
Percentage for rigging and money paying also, no? How do you bring that one?
That is something
4 o'clock they would have rigged the
Let me say one thing about exit polling.
into account.
Let me say one thing about exit polling. Will Yashwant will not disagree. In retrospect, the beauty about exit polling is, in retrospect, every exit poll is correct in their own way. They have their own rationalizations, they have their own way of reaching out to the numbers. But this time what I find very interesting is that there is no one who's bucking the trend overall. There is nobody who's saying that Modi is not going to form the government. Within that range, some are saying, well, if you go by the ORG India poll, he'll need the help of some people to form the government. If you go by the Chanakya poll, well, he's not going to need anyone. And there are, of course, variations within the states. But the broad national story is more or less, as you all agree, in the same direction. So let's remain focused on that, because, I don't want to get into you're right on Rajasthan, I'm right on UP, and etc., etc. Then we'll go into a fair amount of minutiae.
One question. Yashant, I wanted to ask you something. That over a period of time, over 2 elections, we've seen that exit polls all tend to be biased in the same direction. Has any correction been made for it this time, or that is just a coincidence that it has happened so?
2004 and 2009, I mean, it's a very valid question. And please don't forget that there were 100 assembly elections in the 15 years period between these 2 elections as well.
Sure.
So you have seen me work on not only 2004, 2009, but various others where we have been almost 95% correct, in that way. 2004 was an outlier election, Hartosh, because that was the one election when we were doing exit poll for Star News. We predicted 36% for the NDA, it got 36%. We predicted 35% for the UPA, it got 35%. But it was one of those rare odd elections where the party getting lesser votes got higher number of seats. You know, it is the first past the post system which defies the logic some of the time.
He's right there. You know, the Westminster model. And I remember there was one occasion, I think Yashwant remembers, which was right on the eve of the December 8th election. And Yashwant and I were in the studio in a different setting. We were talking about it. And then Yogendra Yadav viciously went after Yashwant saying, I don't know, you declare your methodology, etc. You remember, Yashwant, what I said?
I absolutely remember. Absolutely.
And I always, therefore, stand behind the fact that, you know, to attach motive is very easy. To do what exit pollsters do is very difficult. So I don't want to trivialize this process. But anyway, none of us are statisticians. We can all try and match our wits with Yashwant on samples and surveys. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I just want to quickly go across. I think we have... Let's spend some time on Uttar Pradesh. We have with us Madhukar Jaitley. Siddharth Nath Singh joins us. Madhukar Jaitley, who's advisor to the UP government External Aided Projects Division. Samajwadi Party, KC Tyagi of the JDU. Welcome to talk about Bihar. RK Singh, former Home Secretary. He's joining us from Patna. Overall picture plus Bihar. Siddharth Nath Singh of the BJP. Welcome. Thank you very much. Good of you to join. Okay. Should we begin with UP or Bihar? Madhukar Jaitley ji, let's begin with UP. Let's talk about UP first. I'd like to put out the graphics also as we talk about UP first. By the way, the average in Uttar Pradesh, I look at CVoto, ORG India, Nielsen and Chanakya. The mean shows that the UPA gets 7 seats, the BJP gets 57 on a mean, from a conservative 46 to 52 of ORG. I don't remember the exact number. I think Yashwant gives 52 or 57 actually, right? 54. Yeah, Yashwant's agency, CVoter gives 54. ABP Nielsen gets 46. Chanakya, of course, is 70 out of 80, right? What's the real variation? What's the story here? Is there much variation that you see besides Chanakya?
Actually, yes, Chanakya is seriously the outlier over here. Besides Chanakya, if you look at the other polls, I think they're fairly consistent. They're averaging to 50. The peak is 54, the least is 46.
Right.
I think the other factor I think most of the polls are consistent about is that the BSP, according to the polls, may not be the ground, but the BSP seems to be the biggest loser in the entire game here with about a single digit.
Yeah. I'll try and pull out the vote share, the overall vote share poll of polls also for Uttar Pradesh. But the vote share poll of polls says that the BJP will cross a figure of 30%. This is Congress, of course. Congress, is unimportant in this case, gets an average of 16%, propelled largely by an over-optimistic survey here. Some would say for the Congress party by the ORG India. But BJP is the story. It crosses 32%. Yashwant, how much did the BJP get during the Vajpayee era when it crossed, that mark? When it went into that 55-56 mark?
But the classical figure, Arnab, in UP is always 30%.
So 30%
if you are polling 30%, you will win about 40 seats in UP out of 80.
So 32%.
And after 30%, Arnab, every 1% gets you 5 seats.
Okay. So
after 30%, after you cross the threshold of 30%, every 1% gives you 5 seats at least.
So going by 32%, therefore, you cross the threshold.
50, you cross the 40 plus 10 is equal to 50.
Okay, so just for the record, what did Vajpayee get?
36.5.
Vajpayee got 36.5 UPA.
1998, BJP 36.5.
But BJP alone.
Yeah, but that is including Uttarakhand 5 seats.
Okay, fine. Madhukar Jaitley, do you have much hope? I mean, given the BJP's performance here, this election, Madhukar Jaitley ji comes in the backdrop of Muzaffarnagar. Is this polarization at play? Is polarization as strong maybe as it was in 1991, which has led to the significant impact in terms of votes for the BJP? Mr. Jaitley, start with you.
You see, my only worry is that all the exit polls that you are trying to combine together and say that one has said X and the other has said Y.
Right.
I don't know whether anybody of them is willing to take the accountability for what they have tried to come forward with. In any of these kinds of things which are done, the surveys, etc.
Right.
I mean, even in the case of share market, there is a rider at the end of the day which is written below the application that these investments are subject to market risk. You go to buy a cigarette packet, even in that it is written that cigarette smoking is injurious to health. But despite that, if you want to buy, you can buy that cigarette packet.
No.
But here nobody is willing to say that, no, let me complete.
Sir, we are not selling cigarettes here.
Let me complete.
Sir, we are not selling cigarettes.
I am not saying.
And by the way, if you are asking, I have a pollster here with me.
Saying,
No, 1 second. There is Yashwant Deshmukh of Sea Water. You are asking him within a range of probability. He is sticking his neck out. So is ORG India. Everybody is.
I can always give one statutory warning that the parties which are trailing in the exit polls are injurious to their health. That is one statutory warning.
Repeat it.
I will repeat it again. I will repeat it again.
Perfectly correct.
The parties which are trailing in the exit poll figures are always injurious to their health. Number one. Number two, the same parties, when we predict they are forming the government in Uttar Pradesh winning a mandate, they find the exit polls perfectly healthy.
Okay, Yashwant.
2009 and 2004, if they are not correct, then how can this be correct?
Well, there was another election in 2012 in Uttar Pradesh where exit polls said that a certain young leader of a certain party is going to be the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh.
Precisely, I think so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So at that point of time,
I'm not talking about
the problem is
listening to you at that time.
The problem is
I came into the discussion.
The problem is,
sir, what I'm saying is, let us be very logical. Sorry,
Yes.
sir. I'll tell you one thing. What we are doing in our election analysis, we are trying to extract emotion away and go with the facts. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Jaitley, please, Mr. Jaitley, we are not selling cigarettes out here. In fact, this is a no-smoking zone. I want to get Siddharth here. Mulayam Singh Yadav, your leader, Madhukar Jaitley, was speaking about 50 seats in UP, right? Yeah. Right? Your best ever performance was in 2004. You got 35. And you got only 26, 27% of the vote. No, one second. So 1 minute.
Don't count your eggs before they are hatched, my dear. Don't count your eggs before they are hatched. Just have patience till 16. Everybody, so many people will be surprised on all the people here on this panel. Surprises. Don't worry.
Sir, I am neither hatching eggs nor counting chickens. Just a minute. Siddharth Nath Singh is responding to you, Siddharth. I see a very volatile Madhukar Jaitley here, disbelieves the numbers, questions the exit polls in a fairly predictable manner. Why don't you respond to it?
I find Mr. Jaitley's argument, a little bizarre when he says, the pollsters don't, at the end of the day, they should take accountability. The problem in this country, the governments don't take at the end of the day accountability for anything which goes wrong. So why blame the pollsters? I think what we are seeing in UP, Mr. Jaitley, there is a trend, and the trend is showing that there is a huge, in 2 years, there's a huge anti-incumbency.
That's right.
You have, unfortunately, through the Muzaffarnagar and otherwise also, did not talk about development. You thought about giving doles like laptops and other various things. There was no governance on the ground. There was a communalization which was being spread as a state policy. Attached with that has been the central government's anti-incumbency, and we were able to market ourselves Mr. Modi as an icon for good governance and development. Here and there during the elections, little things did come up, unfortunate, but overall we were focused, and the voters were focused on development and good governance, and I think that's gone well with the voters, and the voters have voted for good governance and development.
Okay,
so that's the reality.
Gentlemen, I would
Perhaps
like to
you have another 3 years to improve on it.
I would just stay on, gentlemen. I want to ask our panelists a sense of how they see the Uttar Pradesh number.
For good governance and development.
Okay,
so that's the reality.
Gentlemen, I would
Perhaps
like to
you have another 3 years to improve on it.
I would just stay on, gentlemen. I want to ask our panelists a sense of how they see the Uttar Pradesh numbers. Let's start with you, Nirja. Let's start with Nirja, and we'll go across it in any order. Let's debate Uttar Pradesh, whether these numbers are realistic. And also, just a small question, Yashwant, here, which is asked very often, and I'm not a pollster, but I always ask them. It is said that there is something called a Bradley effect, where in the case, I think in the United States, when, everyone was hoping that, there was expectation that people from a certain community would be voted in, polls would say yes, but eventually when things were combined, the numbers gave you a completely different story, that people don't reveal essentially who they are voting for, and there is a feeling that the minorities and certain sections, weaker sections, are not very vocal very often in terms of their real voting preferences. I'm just adding that as a caveat. Can it work in Uttar Pradesh? Nirja, and then let's open it up. The Uttar Pradesh debate. Starting with Nirja.
I think the mean number you've taken, 50, I think is a possibility because I've visited that state and I saw the kind of enthusiasm for BJP.
Mean is 57, by the way.
Mean is 57. So say around 50, I would certainly, 45 to 50, I would certainly not be surprised at all.
You would.
But you see, what you also saw, apart from the anti-incumbency and unhappiness with the Samajwadi Party regime,
yes,
you saw an underlying Hindu-Muslim divide of the kind that was seen in the Ram Janmabhoomi time. That was overt, this was covert, and in Western UP particularly, people said, you think development is the issue? No, it's the Hindu-Muslim that's the real issue here today. So people talked about it. Therefore, the Jats voting as Hindus rather than on the caste lines.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be surprised that if that is the kind of number that we see for BJP.
A question here, that in 2009, the Muslim vote deserted the Samajwadi Party in favor of the Congress.
To some degree, not entirely.
To some degree, but to a significant degree at least.
In a particular belt in UP.
In a particular belt. So the same question goes to both of you. You can pick it up. That this time, could that happen in favor of the BSP? Because the ground reports were talking about it, but I haven't found that strongly reflected in any of the polls except ORG India, which in terms of vote share gives 24+% to the BSP.
There are two things I'd like to point out. One, in 2009, a certain section of the Muslim vote went to the Nehru Gandhi family for the first time since the Babri Masjid demolition.
Yes.
They went back to it. They have been very disappointed with the Congress and they moved away this time.
Yes.
You could see Muslim disaffection with the Congress even in Varanasi, where Ajay Rai may well finish third because of that. The other thing is vote to seat conversion in UP is very treacherous. I spent a month in that state. In Western UP near Muzaffarnagar, Muslims were fed up of this SP and moving towards the BSP. As you move further east, the level of Muslim alienation from the SP wasn't as prevalent. In Purvanchal, I would argue the majority of Muslims would probably have stuck to Mulayam. So the BJP did very well in the first round in Western UP, in the Muzaffarnagar belt. As it moved to the other belt, it actually lost before picking up again. So each sub-region, there are 5 sub-regions in Uttar Pradesh, has its own dynamic.
But the impact of this was so big. Anyway, no, but what I mean,
which we imagine it did.
No. Let me explain it with a caveat. You know the states better. He knows the mathematics better. But when this Muslim vote went for the Congress went boom from 14+% to 24+% in 2009, and it was that which got the Congress to, I think, 21 seats. This time, where is that boom effect going? Or is that boom effect not going? After them, I'm coming back.
Saturated because of Aam Aadmi effect.
No, just a thought.
And apart from that, really speaking, most of the Congress, the Muslim votes have been divided into equal parts.
You say that in the backdrop of Muzaffarnagar, that there is no going to be no consolidation of the vote?
Muzaffarnagar had an impact in the Muzaffarnagar region. It did not have an impact further east.
It did not have an impact further east. Sunil,
Muslims have stayed with the SP in a large part of UP.
My wife comes from Kanpur. I travel around UP. One thing which we are all forgetting this time is that for the first time I was hearing auto drivers and everybody else saying, बड़ा इलेक्शन में हम मोदी के लिए देंगे, छोटा इलेक्शन में हम डिसाइड करेंगे किसको देना है. For the first time in UP, people were looking at the Lok Sabha election as who do they want in the center and who do they want in the state could be very different. And we are missing that main point.
Navika, and then we are coming to you, and then we'll go to Bihar next.
You see, all the polls that we've seen, they've given a range of 6 to 13 to Mayawati, which means somewhere the erosion of the Dalit vote has happened for her, and somewhere the erosion of the Muslim vote, or the Muslim vote which was expected to come to her hasn't quite come.
Also, she has
she's always been a silent crusader. Her numbers have very often proved everybody wrong. So the real thing to look at in Uttar Pradesh would be the real Mayawati number.
2009, Mayawati was in par.
I will just support your argument with the empirical numbers, Navika. You are absolutely hitting it right on the head. There are 2 facts about Uttar Pradesh. First, in 2012, when Akhilesh Singh Yadav swept the election in Uttar Pradesh, the gap between Mulayam and Mayawati was only 3%. Right now, we are staring at a gap of 10% between the leader and the runner-up. Average gap 10%. You can understand what kind of vote seat equation, how it is going to be. Why it is happening? The previous best was during the Mandir time, when the upper caste and the OBC rallied for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. For 20 years almost now, there was never a breach in the Dalit vote as far as the BSP was concerned. For the first time in 20 years, our data is revealing that there is a serious breach in the Dalit votes in Uttar Pradesh, and not only in Uttar Pradesh. In fact, this started with the assembly elections when we saw in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, Dalits voted for the BJP. In Delhi, the Dalits voted for Aam Aadmi Party, and in UP this time, Dalit, just like you said,
we need to move on. We need to go to Bihar and Madhya Pradesh. Ajay Bose said
can I quickly issue a warning? Can I please? Yes, sure, please. Can I just please point out that Mayawati's two constituencies, one constituency has always been there with Dalits, and this time the constituency she hopes to get, both these constituencies do not participate in a very enthusiastic and vociferous manner in exit polls. Whatever people may say, exit poll.
Have exit polls gone wrong repeatedly vis-a-vis Mayawati?
They have gone repeatedly wrong.
Have they gone repeatedly?
They've always, she's always got less. She's always got less. She's always got less.
2007 was the one time when the polls predicted a Mayawati gain and substantial
and that was because of the Brahmins.
And that was powered by the upper caste.
When she was losing, she got 26%.
I say.
The exit polls said 26%.
I'm sorry.
All right, I said.
Only on the 16th
Yashwant, where have you been? You're in your elements now for the first time I've seen in a long time.
I was in South Africa analyzing their election.
You get your elections right
polls absolutely bang on target.
And the ANC was back, but I must say, no, 1 second, Yashwant. Everyone, South Africa, ANC return is far more expected than India, and even you will have to concede there wasn't any much of a...
Doesn't matter.
There I see it.
But we had our own element of Arvind Kejriwal in South Africa this time. You must look into that.
Just as a theoretical possibility with the vote percentages you've given, if we assume tactical voting has taken place, then projecting from vote share to actual seats may be difficult because you could have 10% differences in seats and yet get a very result.
Absolutely. That's why if the vote share would have been closer, it would have been a great challenge and a big headache for every pollster. Sure. But if you are looking at a 10% gap between BJP, Mulayam and Mayawati, then it's a, I mean, it is something which you are looking at as some kind of 96 or 91 election. This kind of a gap used to be there at that point of time. Congress is decimated. Certainly there is a tactical voting, but I totally agree with Ashok ji that Muslims by and large have remained with Mulayam Singh Yadav. Muslims have not deserted Mulayam Singh Yadav in this election. Not in that extent which everybody have been thinking of that, okay, they are going to leave.
That includes
certainly not on the basis of an exit poll.
Yeah, certainly.
I'll be ready to accept this on the 16th, but not certainly on the basis of
now one big story today has been the impact. I don't know who is impacted at all or not by the exit polls. Politicians are never impressed, but the Sensex very impressed. And I'd like to go to Tina and Anand, who will give us a quick update on that before we hit break number one.
Well,
Tina and Anand,
in fact, you know, one of the most tangible impacts that we've seen immediately of the exit polls has been on the markets, with the Sensex going past the 24,000 mark. In fact, Anand, an all-time high of 24,068.94.
This was somewhere towards the afternoon where it breached 24,000 and came back to stabilize around 23,871, which is phenomenal. And this has been the sentiment which has been there through the week. And if you look at the if you look at the NSE also breached the 7,100 mark and came down and stabilized.
All-time highs for both, and it must be said that these are largely driven by the domestic stocks. It's the domestic stocks like Larsen and Toubro, ONGC. These are the ones that have been driving the markets. It's all on the sense of the expectancy that's come through as a result of those exit polls. We're going to take a very short break and be right back. Do stay with us right here on the Poll of Polls.
what's a poll of polls show going to be without a healthy dose of controversy? And Mr. Controversy on the sets today, Sankarshan Thakur, who we've been missing, is fresh back from Bihar. I am told, Sankarshan, don't look so angry when we show the Bihar numbers. We're going to pull you right into the middle of the debate. Manisha,
better off not showing those numbers, Arnab. Better off not showing those numbers. because कौन सा महा चाणक्य आप लोग उठा करके लाए हैं कि you're giving 2 to Congress in Bihar, none to RJD and 10 to JDU and 28. All three figures are going to be wrong.
How much will the BJP get in Bihar?
Listen, I am not a soothsayer. I am a journalist. I have a sense that all of these three figures will be wrong. I'm not a pollster. I will not. No, they may not be your figures. You have given figures. Yeah. I am saying my sense on the ground is that these numbers from Bihar are ludicrously wrong. Cannot get, you have to use common sense. You have a sense of the campaign on the ground. 2 seats to Congress, none to RJD, and 10 to JDU. Nitish Kumar is getting flattened in Bihar. He's sitting sunken like this. And Lalu is on the rise in Bihar, according to me, and you're giving him 2 seats. I don't know where they got these numbers from.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Lalu, Sankarshan. Like you, he's extremely confident. I spoke.
No, I'm not confident on part of the RJD or this or that. I am saying that these figures are wrong.
Sankarshan, you are confident, period. Now, Lalu says there is a 30% vote of the backward and the Muslim, which cannot. He told me, and I'm saying this, though it was just an informal chat, he said that vote cannot go away from me. And he said, therefore, I do not believe in any poll here which shows me performing as badly as I have. He was not very happy with any of the polls for that matter. Manisha, welcome.
Arnab, that 30% vote, let me tell you, is not across all 40 constituencies.
I am telling you what he said.
There is hyperbole in even what Lalu Yadav claims. The thing is, 14 to 15 seats.
But we admit that if there is one state which is a litmus test for the Modi wave, Manisha, it will be Bihar. It is a litmus test for the Modi wave.
Caveat to what Sankarshan has to say and to what we have up on the polls. What has happened as a result of the split between the JDU and the BJP is the following. For the first time, the BJP, which was in alliance with the JDU and used to get some Muslim votes, is getting no Muslim votes. The second thing that has happened is that the Mahadalit fiction of imagination was literally all Dalits minus the Paswans.
Right.
This was with Lalu Yadav last time. This is with the BJP this time.
Right.
So essentially, between the Muslims and the Mahadalits, 50% of the votes are up for stakes. Therefore, any projection model which is based on the past doesn't know where it is going.
I am yet to meet a Mahadalit community which gets along with the other Mahadalit community.
Exactly.
So if Nonia is voting somewhere, the Mahat will be voting somewhere else.
There's a Chandravanshi, there is Musahar.
So to have,
let's not get into
imagine them as a composite group.
I just want to fire the graphics 1 second.
Fragmented.
Let's fire the graphics in Bihar. Let's put the poll of polls for Bihar on the screen. Please pay attention. The mean vote, the mean seats for the NDA are coming to, I think, about 29, right?
Absolutely, 29. A consensus.
How much of a variation between the four?
Actually, only very little variation, but for ABP News. Everybody else
very conservative.
Very conservative at 21. Most other polls are anywhere between 27 and 31, giving a poll of polls of 29.
Yes, but just a minute. There's a huge difference between the ORG India poll on one side vis-a-vis the UPA, which is seen to be super conservative, and in fact it does not match the reports on the ground of the serious challenge that Lalu is posing and that of the other three, which are conservative but conservative for the JDU. So the basic difference is central figure same, there's a variation out here. Maybe it can happen statistically. I just want to put 1 point. I don't know if I have the vote share in Bihar overall. But if I were to look at, for example, the vote swing or the vote gain that has happened for the BJP in Bihar, and keep in mind while I'm putting this particular graphic out, right?
So this is let's put this in perspective, Anna. This was the NDA last time, which was with the JDU, had 38.
This is NDA to NDA. Right. It does not match. Therefore, you have to look in this case at BJP alone, earlier, and from
the 23% swing, Arnab. BJP alone. And the BJP right now, 23% positive swing in favor of the BJP.
Too high.
That's huge. From any parameter. The NDA vote share, according to our poll, right now stands at 37%. The Lalu Congress Alliance vote share stands at 31%. and there is, no sorry, NDA means BJP 37 and LJP and other NDA allies is 6. So it is 43 to 31, which is a 12% gap. It's a huge gap. And JDU is decimated at as low as 16%.
According to your figures, you are getting 38 seats to the BJP in Bihar then. According to your figures...
No, 28.
No, you should be given... No, if this is
at
your...
42%, it should be 38 seats.
It's a three-corner contest.
It doesn't work like that. Why I tell you? Because again, BJP vote share does not mean it is getting 43% across all the seats, just the way you just mentioned it right now. They are bagging few seats by exponential margin, huge margin, especially in the urban areas. In Patna, the seats with the BJP is winning. Just look at the margin from 16th, Manisha. You are going to be surprised.
Sinha's margin will be reduced this time.
You know, if you just look at it in terms of the numbers
he will come with a reduced margin.
Is there an exit poll?
Sankarshan.
Sinha's margin will be reduced this time.
Listen, I also have a bone to pick with Yashwant. All the reports suggest that the issue in Bihar became Modi. So while there was a very strong pro-Modi vote, there was also a very strong anti-Modi vote.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that has gone to Lalu. And that's why in seats like Patna Sahib, Shatrughan Sinha will actually get less votes.
Just 1 minute.
Alone in one seat, I'm not.
The point here is,
but Lalu Congress combined is giving a good fight.
Gentlemen, what you are missing out here. What you're missing out here, I agree with your point of view and sentiment. I'm just coming to you, Manisha. The point is simply that last time, how much did the BJP get? The BJP got last time around 14%. 13.9% to be precise. Last time, what did the Congress RJD combined get? 19.3 plus 10.3. Okay, that is more than 30%. Last time, what did the JDU get? 24%. So there are two things I just want this group and all of us and our viewers to keep in mind. As a natural challenger, purely in terms of mathematics, the RJD Congress alliance is the natural challenge. Is the natural. Agreed on that point.
Yes.
Point number 2 is, in my humble assessment, for the BJP to do phenomenally well in Bihar, it has to get anywhere between 12 to 16% votes more. It has to aggregate that kind of votes more to come into that reckoning and convert it into seats. I don't know if that is a valid point. Is it going to be able to get that kind of super swing? That's not even a swing. That's a super swing, Manisha.
The conservative argument to your argument, and parallel in results, is the fact that there is still a three-way contest. And allow me, still a three-way contest. Allow me, Shankarshan, to say that the JDU is not doing as badly on the ground. The poor MBCs still think that Vikas was given to me by Nitish Kumar. Therefore, what happens is that for the BJP, exactly as Aarti says, there is a polarization in favor of the BJP and there is a fragmentation of the opposition.
I'd like to welcome... I come from a ABC-dominated village...
KC Tyagi, one second, Sankarshan.
Came from Nitish.
Sankarshan, let's go outside the studio. We have two guests here. KC Tyagi is with us and RK Singh has been waiting for a long time. Apologies for making you wait, gentlemen. RK Singh, the number on the BJP is more or less the same. The questions are about the performance of the other parties. Your response, I mean, do you believe this is in line with your expectations? The poll of polls number.
What I would say, Arnav, is that we'll get anything around about 31 to 33 seats. We'll get more than 30, absolutely. No doubt about that. It can go up to 32, 33. As far as the JDU is concerned, my reading is that the JDU will not get more than 2 seats. You can take it in writing. They are a poor third in almost all constituencies. 2 seats they might manage to eke out. That is all that they will get. The RJD Congress combined will get about 6, 7, 8, whatever is left. That is how I see it.
Right. So you agree with the overall sentiment and you disagree with the, as far as JDU and RJD is concerned, you disagree?
I disagree with JDU getting 10 seats.
Yes.
Yeah, no way. So JDU is not going to get.
So you disagree with the JDU getting 10 seats, which would have given them a percentage of about 20%? I presume, therefore, you think JDU will go below 15%. Mr. KC Tyagi, your response to RK Singh, please.
RK Singh जी राजनीति में अभी थोड़े दिन से शामिल हैं, हालांकि बिहार के रहने वाले हैं. कभी भी जनसंघ और भारतीय जनता पार्टी अकेले चुनाव लड़के अपनी ताकत को आज तक उन्होंने प्रदर्शित नहीं किया, ये पहला मौका है। जब इन्होंने आडवाणी जी को गिरफ्तार किया था उस समय आडवाणी जी की और भाजपा की समूचे देश में आंधी थी और यूपी में 58 सीटें मिली थी
जी।
आर.के. सिंह जी पुलिस कप्तान थे समस्तीपुर के, और उस समय संयुक्त बिहार था
जी।
उस समय 54 में से 48 सीटें जनता दल यूनाइटेड को मिली थी आर.के. सिंह जी की और आपकी जानकारी के लिए, और शायद बीजेपी को एक भी सीट नहीं मिली थी उस रामराज की आंधी में, और तब भी कम्युनल पोलराइजेशन मोर और लेस ऐसा ही था जैसा आजकल है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, 95 में भी जब अटल जी आ गए हैं नेशनल सीन पर प्रधानमंत्री पद के लिए, तब भी बीजेपी को ज्यादा सीटें नहीं मिली
जी।
98 में जब समता पार्टी ऑफ जॉर्ज फर्नांडिस और नीतीश कुमार बीजेपी के साथ आए, तब पहली बार जो है बीजेपी की संख्या बढ़ी। उसके बाद फिर 99 में जब एक वोट से अटल जी हार करके चुनाव लड़ने गए हैं, तब उसकी संख्या भी बढ़ी, लेकिन उतनी नहीं बढ़ी जितनी बढ़नी चाहिए।
पर इस बार तो मोदी जी ने अलग तरह से कैंपेन किया है। वो कितनी बार बिहार में खुद आए, कितनी बार
कम्युनल पोलराइजेशन नहीं है।
नहीं, आर.के. सिंह जी जवाब दे रहे हैं, आप उसके बाद वापस आ रहा हूं आपके पास। आर.के. सिंह जी कुछ कह रहे हैं आपको, मिस्टर सिंह?
नहीं, मेरी बात कम्युनल पोलराइजेशन नहीं है, कम्युनल पोलराइजेशन की बात नहीं है। बात यह है कि लोगों को नरेंद्र मोदी और बीजेपी के रूप में एक फेथ के ऊपर फेथ है, एक आशा बनी है कि ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी और बीजेपी एक ईमानदार सरकार देगी, एक ऐसी सरकार देगी जो कि विकास करेगी, जो कि देश को मजबूत बनाएगी। यह एक फेथ है, और यही इसी फेथ के कारण ये लहर चला है, जिसके कारण कि त्यागी जी ये बात मान ले कि 30 सीट से कम बीजेपी को नहीं आने वाला।
ये तो आपके जो नीतीश कुमार की डेवलपमेंट मॉडल थी उसका सबसे बड़ा टेस्ट है। क्या लोगों ने रिजेक्ट कर दिया? रिजेक्ट किया तो क्यों किया त्यागी जी?
मानक मेरी बात आप प्रणब देखो, मैं किसी के बीच में बोलता नहीं हूँ, पहली मेरी बात खत्म हो जाए, मैं लंबी बात में नहीं कहूंगा। आर.के. सिंह जी को मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि मानिक सरकार के बाद त्रिपुरा के चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं, इस देश का सबसे ईमानदार चीफ मिनिस्टर नीतीश कुमार है। जिस दिन नीतीश कुमार ने टेक ओवर किया था 400 मेगावाट बिजली पैदा हो रही।
आज क्या ईमानदारी की बात हो रही है कि इस बात की हो रही है कि आप अकेले गए, आप सोलो गए, इसलिए शायद आप सोलो गए इसलिए आपको चुनाव में उतना आपको एडवांटेज नहीं हो, आप अकेले जा रहे हैं, ये बड़ी बात है। इस बार कोई नीतीश कुमार की इंटेग्रिटी,
अकेले बीजेपी भी जा रही है, लिसन टू मी,
बट वो एलजेपी के साथ जा रही है,
अकेले बीजेपी भी जा रही है, तो
अंदर कुछ
उतना आपको एडवांटेज नहीं हो, आप अकेले जा रहे हैं, ये बड़ी बात है। इस बार कोई नीतीश कुमार की इंटेग्रिटी,
अकेले बीजेपी भी जा रही है, लिसन टू मी,
बट वो एलजेपी के साथ जा रही है,
अकेले बीजेपी भी जा रही है, तो
कुशवाहा
यही मैं आपसे कहना चाहता हूँ ना, बगैर किसी सोशल फोर्सेस को साथ जो एलजेपी है, ये दलित वोट की 4% कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी को रिप्रेजेंट करती है, एंड वी द जेडीयू रिप्रेजेंट द 14-16% ऑफ द दलित कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी। जो मिस्टर कुशवाहा की पार्टी है वो 4% लोगों को रिप्रेजेंट करती है, जो अदर पिछड़े हैं हम उसके 32% हिस्से को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं। और मैं आर.के. सिंह जी को और मैं आपको नहीं कह रहा, आर.के. सिंह जी कहना चाहता हूँ, बस ऐसा आएगा ना, क्यों जल्दी कर रहे हैं, चुनाव तो आ जाने
तो ये वोट शेयर में त्यागी जी, तब तो ये आपके वोट शेयर में नजर आता ना, आपके वोट शेयर में तो ये नजर नहीं आ रहा है ना, आपका वोट शेयर इतना
आएगा ना,
हम बताते हैं क्यों है।
आर.के. सिंह जी
त्यागी जी, त्यागी जी आप मेरी बात मान लें, त्यागी जी मेरी बात आप मान लें, मेरी बात मान लें, आपका वोट शेयर अपना देख लें कितना आया है, ये तो स्टेटिस्टिक्स की बात है, काउंटिंग हुई है कि वोट शेयर सीधे स्पष्ट है एग्जिट पोल से, इतना कम क्यों है? हुआ ये कि नीतीश जी को लगा कि जितने जो विक्ट्री पिछली बार इनको मिली वो सब उनके कारण मिली, और ये सोचे कि बीजेपी कौन है। अब जबकि वो अलग हो गए, हमको बोलने दीजिए, जबकि अलग हो गए तब उनको मालूम चला कि नहीं साहब, तो ये जितने वोट्स आए थे पिछली बार वो उनके अपने नहीं थे, उनको तो गलतफहमी हो गई कि ये सारे वोट उनको अपने कारण मिले। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, उनको लगा कि बीजेपी से अलग होकर के उनको मुसलमान वोट मिल जाएगा, वो भी नहीं मिला। ये अब तो कोई वोट रह नहीं गया ना नीतीश कुमार।
ओके, वेल यू नो दिस डिबेट कैन कंटिन्यू। अच्छा त्यागी जी, आखिरी एक बात आप कह दें उनको, जरूर आप रिस्पॉन्ड कर ले एक बार।
मैं ये आपसे कहना चाहता हूं कि पिछला पहली बात तो जेडीयू बड़ी पार्टी थी और इनके जो डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं सुशील मोदी दिन में 4 बार कहते थे कि भाई ये देश का सबसे बढ़िया मुख्यमंत्री है, ये प्राइम मिनिस्टर कैंडिडेट है, और नीतीश कुमार ने कभी ना अपने आप को
प्रधानमंत्री नहीं है ना
बताया, लेकिन
अब तो वो पुरानी बात हो गई, अब तो वो पुरानी बात हो गई त्यागी जी, अभी तो आज की बात चल रही है। नहीं वो देखिए
खंडित मतदाता हैं आपके,
नहीं मनीषा
आपके मतदाता बहुत खंडित हैं, अपने आप को 5 फोरन बुलाते हैं। हमारे पास कैमरा पे प्रोग्राम है जिसमें वो कहते हैं कि हम छोटे छोटे पिछड़े, अति पिछड़े, हम 4%, हम 2%। खंडित मतदाता के पास वो कहते हैं फाइटर वोटर नहीं है हमारे पास।
ओके, वील गो टू द महाराष्ट्र रिजल्ट।
फाइटर वोटर नहीं है,
समय बहुत कम है,
लीडर नहीं है
त्यागी जी, समय बहुत कम है। मैं अपनी लास्ट कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ, ठीक है, लास्ट कुछ कह रहे हैं, 1 minute, अजय यू सेइंग समथिंग एट द एंड, लिसन।
जितने भी पोल सर्वे आपके आए हैं जिन्होंने नीतीश कुमार को 2 सीट दिखाई हैं, वो कहते हैं कि बिहार का 69% लोग कहते हैं बिहार का आपका अब तक का सबसे बढ़िया चीफ मिनिस्टर है।
ठीक है,
2 सीटें दिखाई
अच्छा ओके
कि 57%
जी त्यागी जी कौन बढ़िया है कौन खराब है, किसकी इंटेग्रिटी है नहीं है, उसकी बात नहीं है, क्योंकि आज सवाल सिर्फ है कितने सीट आएंगे। I'd like to thank R.K. Singh and Mr. K.C. Tyagi for the spirited debate. Let's look at Maharashtra, 48 seats. Suresh Prabhu, before Suresh Prabhu comes in, let's look at the poll of polls for Maharashtra. Jay will take us through the poll of polls from Maharashtra. Jay.
The poll of polls, the NDA is slated to win 34. The UPA 14. This is not dissimilar to the 1996 tally, 33 on 48 for the NDA at that time.
Okay, fine.
News Nation ORG at 27 to 31. Most polls in close vicinity. But for today's chart.
The interesting thing also is that as far as the poll of polls for Maharashtra is concerned, even in vote share, there is a significant variation. Yeah. From a slightly conservative 39.5 of ORG India, C voter gives 41. Yes. Nielsen gives 46. Sorry, Chanakya I think gives about 46. So the average mean comes to about 42. So any quick comments on Maharashtra?
The X factor in Maharashtra, Arnab, which our poll, the C voter poll, has picked up very correctly. I mean, which 16th we will be vindicated, and I can challenge on that. The X factor has been the Aam Aadmi Party.
Right.
In our poll, they are polling approximately 9% vote, and they have perfectly played the role what MNS played last time. If UPA is crossing in 2 figures, they had no business to be in 2 figures in Maharashtra this time.
It's because
if they cross 2 figures, they have to thank Aam Aadmi Party for that.
Okay, fine. Let's get Prakash Javadekar, national spokesperson, and Suresh Prabhu. Thank you very much. Welcome, Prakash Javadekar. To you first. You've seen the polls. You are both allies to the BJP and Shiv Sena. Your responses to what you see here. Do you think a range of about 34 is right, or would you expect to do even better in Maharashtra? Prakash Javadekar.
34 seats.
34 seats.
34 seats.
34 seats with a mean vote share of 42. You should be very happy with that.
So, yes, because let me tell you, in 1989, BJP Shiv Sena combination got 33 seats. What was the feature of that?
Sir, can you hear me, sir? Aapko meri awaaz aa rahi hai, sir?
1 second, we're having an audio disturbance here in the studio. Yeah, please continue. Sorry, I got an external audio in, please. Yeah, please continue. Sorry, Mr. Javadekar.
We have one. See, in 1989, we won 33 seats.
Mr. Amit Shah,
Mr. Javadekar. Mr. Javadekar.
This time,
this
time we are winning Nagpur also.
Yeah.
And I am very happy with 34 figure, which seems practical. But I will not be surprised to get 1 or 2 seats more.
Right, you won't be. Will the Shiv Sena take the BJP up or pull it down? Navika, what's the reading in Maharashtra?
Well, the one thing that's bolstered the BJP in Maharashtra is the fact that the MNS has stayed away from the seats where BJP has fought. It's not done so for Shiv Sena, and therefore some amount of damage by MNS to Shiv Sena is definite there. And had the MNS also been part of the larger alliance, if chemistries were different between the two cousin brothers, then clearly the number would have been better. But in this case, MNS has certainly damaged the Shiv Sena in 7 seats.
But the MNS supporting the Shiv Sena or being part of it is out of the question. In this case, can you tell us the inside story, Suresh Prabhu? Is it true that Raj Thackeray enthusiastically supported the BJP and did not, of course, he did not extend the same support to the Shiv Sena? Is this informal alliance going to hit the Shiv Sena? You've been, you know, most of the projections are putting the Shiv Sena at about 13, 14, 15 seats.
13, at best 15.
At best 15 seats. Could you have done better if there had been some kind of a burying of the hatchet with the MNS, perhaps? To build a super NDA in Maharashtra?
You know, this issue has been made clear by many leaders of both Shiv Sena and BJP from time to time. In fact, Mr. Rajnath Singh, as a leader of, as a president of the party, has also mentioned it very clearly in one of the public meetings in Pune. So I think this issue is very well settled. As far as the numbers are concerned, I think this, I agree with my friend Prakash Javadekar that one should not be surprised with more optimistic results and more positive results coming out on the 16th. Why I'm saying this is because large number of people wanted to vote this time for a BJP-led government, India government, BJP Shiv Sena government in Delhi. And therefore the issue was very clear, focused issue. Whom you want as the Prime Minister of Delhi, in Delhi, whom you want as a party ruling India. So it was completely a positive vote for NDA, BJP, Shiv Sena in Maharashtra, very clearly. And also it's a rejection of two governments at the same time. The Delhi government and the Mumbai government. The people are completely frustrated with the type of governance that has been provided in the last 14.5 years. The farmers are angry, the workers are completely distraught, the women have been complaining. So average people, the common man, the Aam Aadmi, has voted with his feet to make sure that the government is out in Delhi, and they are waiting to put the government out in Mumbai in the next 4 months when there will be some assembly election. So the numbers that you are saying, I fully feel that they are the minimum. I am not disagreeing with them at all. But I should not be surprised if better ones are also actually happen on 16.
There is one gentleman called Raj Thackeray who polled 5% votes and the entire planning of BJP Shiv Sena went haywire.
Okay.
And now there is a 400-pound gorilla in their house called Aam Aadmi Party,
I'd like to
which
ask
is polling 9 or 10%.
Let's get Mr. Javadekar very quickly. Mr. Javadekar, do you think the AAP will hit you in Maharashtra very quickly? Yashwant Deshmukh repeatedly says the AAP will hit you.
No, actually not. See, such outfits take votes from all parties.
Right.
So, it is not only that they are taking away BJP votes or Shiv Sena votes. No way. They are taking...
Right.
See, there is a class.
Okay.
Which is disillusioned with all kinds of politics.
Right. I think that...
So, that which was not Nota class.
Right.
Nota class is voting.
Right. Well, I'd like to thank both of you, Prakash Javadekar and Suresh Prabhu and Mr. Shah. Mr. Shah, good evening. This is Arnab Goswami here. क्या आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? अमित शाह जी.
जी ठीक से आ रही है अर्णव जी.
Mr. Shah, पहला सवाल हमारे तो बहुत इधर पैनलिस्ट हैं. सब लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि अगर ये आंकड़े सही आए और उत्तर प्रदेश में सारे जो एजेंसीज हैं सबके सब आपको 50 से ज्यादा सीट दे रहे हैं. चाणक्य तो कह रहा है कि 70 सीट्स आ जाएंगी, मगर वो रेंज है 55 की. तो अमित शाह जी, मेरा पहला सवाल ये है आपसे कि आपको क्या लगता है कि ये रेंज सही है? जो आंकड़े कल दिखाए गए, जो वोट शेयर्स दिखाए गए, आपको क्या लगता है दे आर बैंग ऑन टारगेट दैट यू विल गेट बिटवीन 50 and 55 सीट्स? व्हाट इज योर ओन एक्सपेक्टेशन?
देखिए अर्णव जी, 45 सीटों के ऊपर पहुंचने के बाद वेव का कोई थर्मोमीटर नहीं रहता. वेव इतना प्रचंड है कि 45 के ऊपर अगर एक बार पहुंच सकते हैं तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. मतलब 55 के ऊपर भी हम जा सकते हैं.
अमित शाह जी, दूसरा सवाल यह है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में कई दंगे हुए पिछले साल, मुजफ्फरनगर में दंगे हुए. अब इलेक्शन कमीशन ने आप पर भी कहा कि आपने कंट्रोवर्शियल स्पीचेस दी. मुजफ्फरनगर में, शामली में टिकट्स भी दिए गए लीडर्स को जिन्होंने लोगों ने कहा कि वो उन्होंने इन्फ्लेमेटरी स्पीचेस दी थी जाट महापंचायत में. तो क्या आपको लगता है मिस्टर शाह कि आपको एक तरह से पोलराइजेशन हुई उत्तर प्रदेश में और उसकी बेनिफिशियरी है भारतीय जनता पार्टी?
देखिए, पूरे हिंदुस्तान भर में भारतीय जनता पार्टी का वेव है और उत्तर प्रदेश बहुत बड़ा प्रांत है और इसके एक कोने में दंगे हुए हैं जी। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी हर कोने में विजयी हो रही है। मुझे लगता है अर्णव जी, हर बार आपने ये पोलराइजेशन का मुद्दा उठाकर, मैं मानता हूं कि चुनाव को आपने ज्यादा पोलराइज किया है।
आपको ऐसा क्यों लगता है मिस्टर शाह? क्योंकि पोलराइजेशन तो आज पहली बार नहीं हुई है। जैसे रथ यात्रा की बात जब हुई 1991 में आपको ले जाऊं तो उस बार भी राम टेम्पल के बारे में हुई थी, आपकी वोट शेयर 51 हो गई थी, आपकी वोट शेयर बढ़ गई थी। तो प्रेसिडेंट तो है अमित शाह जी, प्रेसिडेंट तो है कि पोलराइजेशन में पार्टी को बेनिफिट होती है।
जहां तक इस बार के चुनाव का सवाल है, पूरा चुनाव एजेंडे पे चला, हकारात्मक मुद्दों पर गया। जब कभी भी कहीं से कोई आरोप हुआ तभी हमने उसका जवाब देने का ट्राई किया है और इसके कारण शायद अंतिम थोड़ा शेप आप कह सकते हैं कि अलग प्रकार का हुआ, मगर 8 चरण का चुनाव कुल मिलाकर एजेंडे पे चला है।
जी, Mr. Shah, we have a lot of experts here, panelists here, senior journalists here. Everybody would like to ask you different questions. I'll just ask one question. Just one last question to you before I hand over to the others. Amit Shah ji, it is generally believed, कई लोग कह रहे हैं कि मायावती को इन एग्जिट पोल्स में अंडर एस्टिमेट किया गया है, कि मायावती इज अ साइलेंट कैंपेनर, दैट शी हर वोट शेयर जो है बीएसपी की वो काफी घटी नहीं है। आपने खुद एनालाइज किया होगा, वो काफी कांस्टेंट रही है। क्या आपको लगता है कि एक अनएक्सपेक्टेड फैक्टर आ सकता है मायावती जी के परफॉर्मेंस में इस चुनाव में, जो शायद एग्जिट पोल के आंकड़ों में दिखाई ना दे?
मैं निश्चित मानता हूं कि मायावती का जो वोट देने वाला वर्ग है वो ज्यादा वोकल नहीं है और एग्जिट पोल करने वाले शायद उन तक पहुंच भी न पाए। प्रकार की लीड बनती है सीटों पर। मैं मानता हूं कि इतनी एज मायावती जी को देने के बाद भी सीट तो बीजेपी की ही बनेगी।
अमित शाह जी, now I request you to take some questions from many of our panelists. पहला सवाल आपको आ रहा है, नाविका आपको सवाल करे, then I'm going to take it around. Navika is asking you one question. Amit Shah ji, now I'm not going to make this a press conference, Mr. Shah, but since we've got the chance to have you on our Poll on Polls program, मौका तो मिला है, आप टाइम्स नाउ पे तो डिटेल इंटरव्यू आपकी हुई नहीं है, इसलिए आज मौका जो है उसका भरपूर फायदा उठाएंगे हम। जी नाविका
जी, बिल्कुल उठाइए अर्णव जी, मैं भी चाहता हूं कि टाइम्स नाउ के साथ संवाद हो। जी
जरूर नाविका।
अमित शाह जी, कहा जाता है कि आपने अमेठी में तो स्मृति ईरानी को उतारा, लेकिन रायबरेली में आप एक बड़ा कोई कंटेस्टेंट देने से पीछे हट गए, क्योंकि
जी जरूर नाविका।
अमित शाह जी, कहा जाता है कि आपने अमेठी में तो स्मृति ईरानी को उतारा, लेकिन रायबरेली में आप एक बड़ा कोई कंटेस्टेंट देने से पीछे हट गए, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं आप गांधी फैमिली को बहुत ज्यादा नहीं धक्का देना चाहते थे। तो क्या ये एक पॉलिटिकल पॉइंट की तरफ से सिर्फ आपने इसको लिया, या रियली आपको लगता है कि अमेठी में कोई बैटल है?
नहीं, जग जाहिर है, रायबरेली में भी पार्टी उमा भारती जी को लड़ाना चाहती थी, हम ट्राई भी कर रहे थे, मगर कुछ कारणों के वो नहीं पाए। ऐसा नहीं है, हम उत्तर प्रदेश में हर सीट को जीतने के लिए पहले से चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं। 80 की 80 सीटों की जीतने की संभावना तराश कर चल रहे थे और हर सीट पर सामने के प्रत्याशी को ध्यान में रखकर प्रत्याशी दिया गया है।
दिलीप पदगांवकर है, टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया के पूर्व एडिटर, वो आपसे सवाल कर रहे हैं अमित शाह। द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गोज फ्रॉम दिलीप पदगांवकर टू यू। गो अहेड यू कैन।
अमित जी, जिस तरह से ये एग्जिट पोल्स के नतीजे आ रहे हैं, इससे मुझे लग रहा है कि काफी दलित वोट और ओबीसी वोट बीजेपी की तरफ आ गया है। कितना परसेंटेज आ गया है वो देखना पड़ेगा, लेकिन अपवर्डली मोबाइल जो दलित हैं और ओबीसी है, मेरे ख्याल में वो बीजेपी के साथ आ गए हैं। सवाल ये है कि अभी तक कोई भी एविडेंस नहीं है कि मुस्लिम वोट 1% भी आपके पास नहीं आया है। क्या आप कोशिश करेंगे गवर्नमेंट बनाने के बाद टू रीच आउट ऑल्सो टू द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी?
देखिए, जब से जनसंघ की स्थापना हुई और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जब से स्थापना हुई, एक बात को बढ़ चढ़कर प्रचारित किया गया है। इसके कारण एक निश्चित अंतर भारतीय जनता पार्टी और मुस्लिम वोटर्स के बीच में है, मगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कभी वोटर को मुस्लिम हिंदू मुस्लिम के पाले में नहीं बांटा है, ना हम फ्यूचर में भी बांटना चाहते हैं। मैं मानता हूं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का शासन आएगा और अगर एक टर्म समाप्त करता है तो आने वाले दिनों में जो अपप्रचार हुआ है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए, उसका जवाब अपने आप सरकार के कामों के कारण लोगों तक पहुंच जाएगा और वहां से भी वोट मिलना शुरू होंगे।
Okay, next question comes from Sankarshan Thakur. Sankarshan Thakur is a roving editor of the Telegraph of the Anand Bazar Patrika Group. Amit Shah
जी, इस चुनाव के दौरान कई वरिष्ठ विश्लेषकों ने कहा है कि इस चुनाव के जो नतीजे आएंगे उनमें ऐसा साबित हो जाएगा कि जो अक़लियत का वोट है, माइनॉरिटी वोट है, वो अपने आप को एक तरह से इर्रेलेवेंट कर चुका है। मैं ये सवाल इसलिए पूछ रहा हूं, मैं अभी बनारस और पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश के कुछ इलाकों से घूम के आया हूं। वहां देखा कि कई ऐसे इलाके हैं जहां भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने प्रचार करने की कोशिश भी नहीं की, उनको छोड़ दिया। तो ये कुछ दर्शाता है क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी का जो एक समझ है कि इस चुनाव का क्या मतलब होगा, खासकर दिलीप जी से ही जुड़ा हुआ सवाल कि अक़लियतियों पर क्या असर पड़ेगा इस चुनाव का, इन नतीजों का, और पॉलिटिक्स, आगे आने वाली पॉलिटिक्स पर उनके प्रेजेंस का।
देखिए, आपने जो बात कही इसके दो पहलू हैं। पहली बार आने वाले दिनों में अक़लियत पर क्या असर पड़ेगा, मैं आपको निश्चित रूप से आश्वस्त भी करना चाहता हूं और बताना भी चाहता हूं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार धर्म के आधार पर किसी के साथ भेदभाव नहीं करती। कई प्रांतों में हमारी सरकार चल रही है, मध्य प्रदेश में चल रही है, राजस्थान में चल रही है, गोवा में चल रही है, गुजरात में चल रही है, छत्तीसगढ़ में चल रही है और लंबे अरसे से चल रही है।
जी, अमित शाह जी, मेरा एक सवाल है।
मुझे थोड़ा सुन लीजिए। आरटीआई और मीडिया के जमाने में अगर किसी के साथ अन्याय हुआ है तो ये बातें ज्यादा छिपती नहीं है। इक्का दुक्का किस्सों को उछालकर अगर देखा जाए तो कोई बात बनती है, मगर ग्रॉस जिसको बोल सकते हैं कि शासन की ओर से अन्याय, इस तरह की कोई बड़ी घटनाएं आज तक सामने नहीं आई है। तो जहां तक माइनॉरिटी का सवाल है, आने वाले दिनों में किसी को कोई डर रखने की जरूरत नहीं है। हिंदुस्तान में सबके साथ अगर हमारी सरकार बनती है तो समान प्रकार का व्यवहार होगा।
अमित जी, मैं सिर्फ आपके तरफ से एक बात कहना चाहता हूं। मैं सुनील अलग हूं। One second, I just want to.
Why are you speaking on his behalf?
I will tell you because he is not saying. in गुजरात जब 212 में इलेक्शन हुआ था, जितने सवाल यहाँ पे पूछे जा रहे थे वही सवाल पूछे गए थे। और जब भी मैं गुजरात में घूम रहा था, जितने लोग गुजरात के बाहर से क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं, 1 second, I want to say this because you must go and speak to the Muslims.
That's all right. You are endorsing what he's saying. That's fine. Now we are asking questions here.
Go and speak to the Muslims.
No, we are asking questions here.
You can always silence everyone who says anything in favor of BJP.
No, I am not saying anything.
There's no point here. I mean, I am telling you for one thing that look, go to Gujarat and see how many Muslims vote for Mr. Modi. You won't ask these questions.
But Sunil
everything is outside Gujarat.
No, Sunil Alag, I'm sorry.
You can carry on.
Even Amit Shah knows that I happen to be a journalist, and Amit Shah expects that when he comes on Times Now, he will be asked the questions. Now, I don't think, Amit Shah, do you expect that when you are on Times Now, you won't be asked the questions? We will ask you the questions.
But also the facts can come across not just from Amit Shah, but from other people also.
Let Amit Shah speak for himself.
Sure.
My question here is, I think linked to a previous question of Sankarshan Thakur, जो अगला सवाल आपको आ रहा है वो अजय बोस है, very senior journalist. He is asking you a question, right? Ajay Bose to Amit Shah. Go ahead.
अमित शाह जी, इस सिलसिले में मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, जे आपका यूपी में 18% मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन है, आपका एक भी मुस्लिम कैंडिडेट नहीं मिला। आपका जो पूरा कैंडिडेट में मैं देख रहा हूं, जो एक भी मुस्लिम कैंडिडेट नहीं, इसका कारण क्या है?
नहीं, देखिए, जहां तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कैंडिडेट का सवाल है, हम विनेबिलिटी के आधार पर चुनाव लड़ते हैं और विनेबिलिटी के आधार पर टिकट बढ़ती है। दूसरी बात कि मैं उस पार्टी से आता हूं जो वोटर और कैंडिडेट को हिंदू मुस्लिम के पाले में हम बांटना नहीं चाहते, और मैं मानता हूं कि साच अर्थ में भारत को जो लोग सेक्युलर बनाना चाहते हैं, इन्होंने बहुसंख्यक अल्पसंख्यक ये बात बोलना ही बंद करनी चाहिए, भारतीय ये बात बोलनी शुरू करनी चाहिए। और सब लोगों के लिए अगर एक बार ये करने का हम प्रयास करते हैं तो काफी अच्छा।
अमित शाह जी, क्या ये एक चेंज ऑफ पोजीशन है? क्योंकि जैसे आपने कहा पोलराइजेशन नहीं है, अल्पसंख्यक बहुसंख्यक की बात नहीं होनी चाहिए और कास्ट की बात नहीं होनी चाहिए, मगर जब डुमरियागंज में नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने वो बात उठाई कि वो प्रियंका गांधी ने ऐसा कहा आई एम फ्रॉम अ नीची जाति, क्या वो इज दैट अ क्राइम, तो वो भी तो एक कास्ट की बात ही थी। तो क्या आपकी जो इलेक्शन के पहले की स्ट्रेटेजी है बदल रही है इलेक्शन के बाद?
जी नहीं अर्णव जी, आप अभी भी बातों को तोड़ मरोड़ कर लोगों के सामने रख रहे हैं। आपने खुद कहा कि प्रियंका ने कहा कि नीच पॉलिटिक्स, इसके जवाब में मोदी जी ने कहा, तो किसने जाति का पॉलिटिक्स शुरू किया? अगर कोई आरोप लगाता है तो हम जवाब भी नहीं देंगे। और एक बात अर्णव गोस्वामी, आप मुझे बताइए, अगर ये नीच पॉलिटिक्स शब्द मेरे मुंह से हो गया होता तो 6 दिन तक आपका डिस्कशन चलता और आपके कैमरामैन मेरे घर के दरवाजे न खोलने देते, बिल्कुल साफ शूटर की तरह बाहर खड़े रहते। अब आप जाकर प्रियंका जी के घर पर खड़े हैं क्या? किया है क्या? ठीक है, एक डिस्कशन किया अर्णव जी, मगर इतने ऑफेंसिव आप नहीं होते। कहीं ना कहीं आप लोगों के मन में भी फर्स्ट फैमिली के लिए सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर पड़ा है, थोड़ा खौफ भी पड़ा है।
अमित शाह जी ना, एक मिनट अमित शाह जी, देखिए ऐसा है कि जो पिछले 2009 से लेकर अब 2014 आ गई, अब पिछले 5 सालों में आप अगर देख के खुद अपनी तरफ से आप आंकड़े लगा लें तो आप देखेंगे कि जितनी न्यूज स्टोरीज, जितनी स्कैम्स, जितने प्रश्न टाइम्स नाउ ने कांग्रेस यूपीए से सवाल किए हैं, जितनी ऑनेस्ट जर्नलिज्म की है, मैं भी आपको सब मिलाकर आपको दे दूंगा, फिर आप देख लीजिए कि आपने जो ये बात कही वो सही है कि नहीं है। मगर मैं उस पर अभी देखिए ज्यादा तर्क वितर्क नहीं करना चाहता, मगर और सवाल आ रहे हैं आपके पास अमित शाह जी।
ठीक है अर्णव, मैं अलग से आपके पास इंटरव्यू करूंगा, तब इस पर बात करेंगे। अभी हम चुनाव पे फोकस रहेंगे।
Zarur. So then that means that after Narendra Modi, I can expect that Amit Shah will also come on. Frankly speaking, I will send you a formal letter very soon. Amit Shah ji, हरतोष सिंह बाल है वो राजनीतिक।
मैं जरूर आपके निमंत्रण का स्वीकार करूंगा।
जरूर। अमित शाह जी, हरतोष सिंह बाल है, he is the political editor of Caravan. He is asking you the next question, please.
Amit Shah ji, if I understand you correctly, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि अल्पसंख्यकों की जो their sense of alienation or difference from the mainstream or their apprehensions of the BJP, आप उसको address करेंगे by not recognizing them as minorities?
No.
That is my question. Is that the viewpoint?
Let him answer.
नहीं, मैं थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर दूं, आप मुझे सुन लीजिए। गरीब के लिए कोई योजना बनती है तो गरीब हिंदू के लिए भी बनेगी, गरीब अल्पसंख्यक के लिए भी बनेगी, गरीब सिख के लिए भी बनेगी, गरीब ईसाई के लिए भी बनेगी। अगर पिछड़े की कोई योजना बनती है तो पिछड़े अल्पसंख्यक के लिए भी बनेगी, बहुसंख्यक के लिए बनेगी। इसमें अल्पसंख्यक बहुसंख्यक का सवाल ही नहीं आता, न आना चाहिए।
अच्छा, वो एक और सवाल है।
बट दैट डज नॉट एड्रेस जो अमित शाह जी सवाल मैं पूछ रहा हूं, एलियनेशन और इनसिक्योरिटी आप इकोनॉमिक टर्म्स में कैसे एड्रेस करें?
देखिए, मैं कहता हूं हमारी सरकार अगर बनती है तो सबके साथ समान व्यवहार हर क्षेत्र के अंदर होगा, हर क्षेत्र के अंदर। अब जब सबके साथ समान व्यवहार का मैं शब्द प्रयोग करता हूं तब उसके अंदर सब आ जाते हैं।
I'll take one more question. Navika is asking one quick question. Nirja Chaudhary has also got a question after Navika. Yes, Navika, quickly, and then we'll take two together.
अमित शाह जी, मैं एक रिपोर्टर हूं तो इसलिए रिपोर्टर की तरह आपसे सवाल पूछूंगी। अगर 50 सीट से ऊपर आती है तो क्या ये अमित शाह का यूपी में सक्सेस होगा, और क्या इसके बाद हम देखेंगे कि अमित शाह मोदी की सरकार का एक हिस्सा होंगे कि आप पार्टी और संगठन में ही रहेंगे?
देखिए, उत्तर प्रदेश का परिणाम का सवाल है तो मैं आपको बता दूं नाविका जी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी निश्चित रूप से 50 से ऊपर सीटें जीतने जा रही है और हमारा वोट शेयर भी 39 से 41 के बीच में रहेगा। और मैं आने वाले दिनों में क्या काम करूंगा वो मेरी पार्टी तय करेगी। फिलहाल मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी का राष्ट्रीय महासचिव हूँ और संगठन का काम।
Since you are an experienced reporter and there's an experienced politician, I don't think if you ask Amit Shah 100 times what his role will be, he will say. Yesterday I saw an interview of the finance minister of South Africa who's just been through that election. And he was asked that question, I think it was by Richard Quest 4 or 5 times, and he said the same thing. He said, my president is going to decide. Well, one last question we'll take. Nirja Chaudhary hai. Aakhri sawal, Amit Shah. Right? It's coming from Nirja Chaudhary to you.
अमित शाह जी, मेरा सवाल तो बहुत सादा है कि आप अपनी सफलता का गुर क्या मान रहे हैं?
देखिए, जहां तक मेरी सफलता का सवाल है, सफलता मेरी नहीं है, उत्तर प्रदेश भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लाखों कार्यकर्ताओं की सफलता है। और सफलता का मूल मंत्र यह है कि वार्ड लेवल के कार्यकर्ता से लेकर वरिष्ठतम कार्यकर्ताओं ने एक ही प्रकार की योजना के आधार पर काम किया और सबको जो रोल आवंटित किया गया है इसके हिसाब से ही काम किया। पूरे साइंटिफिक तरीके से हमारा चुनाव प्रचार चला। हर गांव में हम गए, हर गांव में हमारे नेता की बात रखी, हमारी पार्टी की बात रखी, हमारे विचार की बात रखी और लोगों को जोड़ने का हम प्रयास किया। इसके कारण अगर सफलता मिलती है तो मिलेगी। और देश भर में जो मोदी के लिए और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रति लहर है, इसका फायदा भी उत्तर प्रदेश में बड़ी मात्रा में हमें मिला है।
So Amit Shah, I'd like to thank you. As per the exit polls, getting anywhere between 46 and 54 seats, perhaps in excess of 50. Thank you very much, and we'll talk after the 16th, Mr. Amit Shah. 16 तारीख को आपकी पहली इंटरव्यू हम चाहते हैं, Times Now पे हो. Thank you very much, Amit Shah, for joining me. Thank you very much indeed. Let's go into a very quick break. He's the man of the moment. If he gets those numbers. If he gets those numbers, one can be sure he gets a very big role. And many people feel that Narendra Modi would want to have him in the PMO. Let's see where things go.
He's an extraordinarily impressive guy.
Extraordinarily impressive in terms of his plan.
You know, I mean, if you noticed, when he was asked that what is this thing, he didn't mention Modi in his first breath. He talked about the workers of UP and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
He's a very solid guy.
Okay, we take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at the big state of West Bengal and why the Trinamool Congress is very upset with the Sunil Alak. Why the Trinamool Congress is very upset with the ORG India poll and why it believes that it could get excess of 30. Derek O'Brien joins the panel in a few minutes.
Welcome back. Fabulous looking times now. Studio quick check of the social slate. We'll start with our first hashtag, the hashtag mega exit poll. Last night it peaked to about 584 tweets before it per minute. 584 tweets per minute before it started tapering towards the evening. This one because we are now trending hashtag poll of polls, Tina.
That's right. We've been leading on Twitterverse throughout the run-up to these elections. We continue to do that now. So do join us right now. Be with us with hashtag poll of polls. Let's take a look at the keyword searches that were going on from last night right up until today. The keyword searches for UPA, NDA, exit poll. Those are the tweets for the NDA, about 13,000. You're looking at the tweets for UPA and also the potential impressions. Take a look at that too, where the NDA, of course, has more than double Twitter impressions.
5 crore plus Twitter impressions, potential impressions. Here's the sentiment check. Positive sentiment, 82% for the NDA, driven by the BJP sentiment. 76% positive sentiment for the UPA, but the numbers there overall, not too many if you were to look at the number of tweets that came their way. So that's the check of the social slate. Back to you, Arnab.
One story that the armies on both sides, the Twitter armies on both sides are evenly poised, right? At least one area that the Congress party evened out with the BJP.
But
thanks very much.
For Congress, Arnab.
Huh?
They don't vote for Congress.
Well, I don't know who votes for whom. I don't live on the Twitterverse.
But even here, the BJP beat them by double, Arnab. So they win on social media too.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you very much, Tina and Anand. Let's look at the West Bengal numbers. Derek O'Brien joining us. I think we have Tathagat also with us. Joining us right now, we have Tathagat Rai, GVL Narasimha Rao, who's got his own numbers. He's done his own polling. And the West Bengal numbers are controversial to some extent, less than Bihar, less than Rajasthan, because News Nation, Times Now, ORG India poll gives a number of 19 to 20.
Yes, to the Trinamool.
To the Trinamool.
It's been a little better Arnab with the other polls and coming up to an average of 24. Yeah. The real story is somewhere in the vote share, Arnab, where a surging BJP seems to have stopped the Trinamool in its tracks.
Okay, so logically, in terms of arithmetic, to me, it makes sense.
Yes.
But let's go to Derek O'Brien and let's get him on the screen. Derek, who's been very upset because he was waiting out there.
No.
Well,
not at all. I'm waiting. You're interviewing Amit Shah. I'm listening. Not upset. We're very relaxed. Or no?
Well, so are we.
From yesterday, I haven't.
No, Derek, yesterday you said, and I quote, yesterday you said your numbers are pathetic. I say that, right? Tathagat Roy of the BJP contesting also from South Kolkata this time. Welcome, GVL Narasimha Rao, welcome. Derek, what's your real problem with the numbers?
Let me say. Yes. I'll tell you, we have no problem with any numbers. We'll wait for the 16. But because yesterday you were showing 20, yesterday I said pathetic, you've at least come to 24. By the time you reach the 16, you'll get some poll of super polls. You'll reach 27, 28, 29. Anyway.
This is the most absurd thing I've heard. That's a poll of polls, for God's sake, Derek, anyway.
Listen. Why you did the poll of polls today is because you needed to do a CYA for yesterday. In case yesterday you're wrong, this is your cover-up job.
Oh, God.
No, seriously.
Amazing.
Or no. But we want to thank everyone who's done these exit polls because otherwise we'd have had nothing to do from the 12th to the 15th. Now you're keeping us all occupied. On vote share, I've got some comments to make on some bloopers because you're doing all the polls today. The National Blooper Award goes to ABP Anando Nielsen. In their poll, they've given the CPM and the left 36% to Trinamool's 33%. That is blooper number one. Those numbers are even more laughable than what you put on the screen. 36% to the left and 33% to Trinamool. I think there are two other points.
One second, Jayanta Ghoshal is there. One second, I'll get a quick rebut on that. Jayanta Ghoshal, by the way, historically speaking, and I'm not batting for Jayanta on this, he can bat himself. Jayanta Ghoshal is the editor of the Anand Bazar Patrika in Delhi, very senior journalist. The numbers for the left in the 2011 election, I put all the left parties together, does come to about 37-38%. I don't know why Derek O'Brien is fuming at that number.
Actually,
Jayanta.
When the last election, when we said that CPM, the result of CPM will be disaster, that time Derek was quite happy with the AC Nielsen survey. That time the credibility of the AC Nielsen was there. And now, Derek has become a good politician now. Earlier he was not politician. Now he has become politician. Because now you are not happy.
Put your hand on your heart.
This is a nice, the Park Street fight going on.
No, you know the politicians' problem in general. If it is not complimentary, you are completely upset. The credibility of the survey, you will be at stake. And
attack the person.
If it is,
I'm telling you 3 points.
So, but no, you cannot blame the ABP Nielsen survey.
Gets 33, Jayanta.
Survey has its own methodology. And when AC Nielsen said that the CPM ministers will lose the election, that time CPM was upset with us. And today you are upset with us.
Don't be upset.
So, no.
I'm not upset. Jayanta, I'm not upset.
You don't look upset at all. You don't look upset at all, Derek. Never mind. But you don't look at all
That's a great shot. I say, if we can, one minute, on a lighter note, if we can all be upset once a day in the way that we have, we'll all have some robust health, let me tell you. Okay? I want to ask Tathagat Ray, because I want Derek O'Brien, please, answer. Let's get one word from Tathagat Ray. Why does the TMC always want to dominate a discussion? Tathagat Ray, health, let me tell you. Okay? I want to ask Tathagat Ray, because I want Derek O'Brien, please, answer. Let's get one word from Tathagat Ray. Why does the TMC always want to dominate a discussion? Tathagat Ray, You have made inroads.
I want to entertain you.
No, you can entertain me in a bit. I like politicians and Delek O'Brien. They're politicians.
Chanakya. Hey, listen, Aldo. Chanakya is saying...
He's not going to give the other guy a chance.
Bengal. That's another blooper.
Will the BJP make the inroads? 9.47% is what ORG India says. The mean, however, is 15%.
Yeah, with Chanakya driving it up.
With Chanakya driving it up with 24%, frankly, very difficult to believe. C voter says 12%. In terms of seat conversion...
Look at him cackling away. Cackling away.
Chanakya is saying BJP will get 8%. I'm not angry. Chanakya is giving BJP 8 seats in Bengal.
I know,
Absolutely.
I can't see Derek's laughter over from here, but from what I can make out, that laughter is seeming pretty contrived. This election is going to spring a lot of surprises, and some of them are not going to be pleasant for Derek or her Didi. Let's watch. 16th is still ahead. It's early days now.
What do you think? Tathagat Ray, what do you think? You voted in the last phase. You were contesting in the last phase. What are the numbers you're looking at for the BJP?
The numbers we don't do. The numbers have been done by some psephologists or whoever.
Arnab, can I ask
One minute. Wait for the 16th. But I heard someone laughing. I think it was Derek, who was trying to make light of the fact that someone has projected BJP up to 24%. Well, I think a lot of surprises are in store in this election. It's early days yet. Let's watch. 16th is still ahead.
Right.
Arnab, can I ask a question to them?
Just one question to GVL Narasimha. I'll open it up for the last. GVL Narasimha Rao, is Derek O'Brien laughing because he's nervous about the possible impact of going alone? You see, a party can do very well on its own, but when it goes alone, the mathematics changes. You are a psephologist. Would you like to add something on that to Derek and to all of us?
I would just like to add something.
Has certainly given them a lot of
only
jitters.
To make light of the matter. He is nervous. More than anything else, he is nervous.
He's nervous. He's nervous.
Sign of nervousness.
Can I go now? God. This is become theatre.
I'm glad we're having a laugh. This has been a long election, hasn't it? Yes, GVL Narasimha Rao.
You see, when we started off, let me give you a little perspective. When the whole thing started off in early, say, April or in the month of March, we didn't really think we had any chance in a state like Bengal. We didn't really think we had a winning chance in Orissa. We were a little circumspect about what will happen in Haryana going alone. and I'm mentioning some of the states. And Karnataka, how will things swing? I can tell you, as the campaign rolled, the kind of impact that Mr. Modi's campaign has made in these states, which are non-traditional strongholds of the BJP, particularly, and also to that you can add Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. I think he has really given the momentum for the party to win seats and in a big way. Orissa, I think Mr. Patnaik has been comfortable for many elections now, but this time he has got the jitters. He is not sure whether he is actually winning the election comfortably. And my own prediction for Orissa is we are going to win around 7 seats, anything between 5 to 8 or 5 to 9
Okay, I take your point. Fine.
Which was Bengal also.
Mr. Rao, these are big, strong regional leaders. And one thing can't be discounted, that she won the state elections resoundingly in 2011. You look at the Panchayat elections of 2013, is there not a wave in for Mamata Banerjee when you look at the Panchayat elections, for example, of 2014? Welcome, Sabha. It's over to you.
My question to both Derek and the BJP, Mr. Rao, can I just ask you one question? I understand that the BJP is growing in places where it did not have a presence. But surely in the context of West Bengal, your call of development goes through the window because the issue of Bangladeshi immigrants has been raised repeatedly. It is obviously a code word for the minority community in that state. So let's not fool anyone over here. It was a straightforward identity politics that Mr. Modi is playing in a state where there is a problem and let's be honest here. We are all honest. I agree with you that the BJP, even if this time they don't get too many seats,
let's get a response.
In the future, you may get in Bengal, but you have played a communal card in that state.
Sabha, in the assembly, they will be major players.
Fine, no, I'm looking for a response. I just want a denial or an acceptance of the point that I'm making.
Go ahead, please. 2 minutes left to the break.
To be sent back, that's the position the Supreme Court has taken. So you cannot,
this is, the bringing in the Supreme Court all the time. This is political stage, Supreme Court, nationality. I mean, don't mix these two things. No. That's a devious answer. No.
Polarization. I think you have to target those parties rather than the BJP.
You are creating
Sankarshan.
That I consider that a devious answer to Sabha's question. Her question is not legalistic. Her question is a political one, taking off from how the BJP have campaigned in West Bengal. And I would like an answer from you politically, not hiding behind Supreme Court has said this and that.
Is the Supreme Court communal?
Let Tathagat Rai respond.
Jump on to another branch.
Let Tathagat Rai respond.
There's a problem with talking to people like you.
Tathagat Rai responding.
No, I'm asking you.
That the distinction between refugees and infiltrators has not been drawn up by the BJP or RSS. It has been drawn up by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, which is an international organization, and that says that a person, will you please not interrupt me while I'm answering? You've done your question, now let me answer. The definition is from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, which says that a person who has left his own country and gone to another country out of a genuine fear of persecution because of, words to that effect, out of a genuine fear of persecution because of religion, ethnicity or political belief, is a refugee. And people who go for economic reasons, they are not refugees. And this is not manufactured by the BJP. This is done by an international organization. So try to remember that.
We have half a minute for Derek O'Brien's rebut, if he wants to.
Yeah.
Of course I want to. I don't have the book here. I'll bring it on your program the next time and I'll quote from Tathagata Roy's book. That statement with the lady who asked him, Mr. Modi came and absolutely made a botch of what he said, but I'm not getting into that because enough has been said about that. Our position is clear. But on the polls, let me stick to the polls. There is a battle in Bengal. Let me concede. There is a battle in Bengal. The battle is for second spot. Second spot between CPM and BJP. Trinamool is way ahead of CPM and BJP.
Derek O'Brien, Tathagat Roy, GBL.
That's a low blow.
Derek O'Brien, thank you for those laughs.
Discuss the downside.
Thank you for the laughs. Okay, take notice of the fact that when we come back on the other side, are we heading towards a stable government and a clear political formation? All that and more on 9 o'clock on Super Prime Time as we continue to debate the numbers ahead of the 16th.